My sister abandoned her daughter on my porch and vanished. My parents said she was my responsibility now. There are moments in life that hit you like a punch to the gut, moments that twist everything you thought you knew about family. For me, it was 7 a.m. on a chilly October morning, staring at a little girl with a pink backpack, realizing my sister hadn't just abandoned her child, she'd meticulously planned to disappear, and I was her unwitting accomplice. I swear, my coffee mug froze halfway to my lips. My 4-year-old niece, Lily, was sitting on my welcome mat. Not a note, not a text, just her. Wearing yesterday's clothes, clutching a stuffed elephant with one eye missing. Lily, the one I'd seen maybe 6 times in her whole life. "Uncle Theo," she whispered, her voice so tiny it barely made it through the screen door. "Mommy said to wait here. She said you'd take care of me." My stomach dropped like a stone. I pushed the door open, scanning the empty street. Miranda's silver SUV? Gone. The morning air bit cold as I crouched down to her level. "Hey, sweetheart. I'm Theo. Do you remember me?" She nodded. Those enormous brown eyes, Miranda's eyes, studied my face with an unsettling intensity. "Mommy showed me pictures," she said. "She said you're nice." I kept my voice gentle, even as a red-hot rage started building in my chest. "When did your mommy leave you here?" Lily hugged her elephant tighter. "Last night. It was dark. She said she had to go away for a while. She said you'd know what to do." Last night. My sister had abandoned her 4-year-old daughter on my porch, in the dark, in October, in Portland. And then just drove away. My hands were shaking as I pulled out my phone and called Miranda. Straight to voicemail. Again. Voicemail. On the 3rd attempt, I left a message, my words clipped and cold. "Miranda, your daughter is on my porch. Call me back immediately." I ushered Lily inside and settled her on the couch with a throw blanket my ex-girlfriend had left. She accepted a glass of water and 2 granola bars, eating with the mechanical efficiency of someone who'd been hungry before. That observation sent another spike of fury through me. While Lily ate, I called my parents. My mom answered, her voice tight, almost knowing. "Theo, I was wondering when you'd call." "Mom." Miranda left Lily on my porch. A long pause. Then my father's voice joined the call. They'd put me on speaker. 3 days ago, he said. "She told us she needed space, that she was overwhelmed." "So you knew she was planning to dump her kid?" I couldn't keep the accusation out of my tone. "We thought she meant a weekend," my mom said defensively. "Maybe a week with a friend. We didn't think she'd leave her with me." With me. Someone who lives alone, has 0 experience with kids, and wasn't even asked. I was pacing now, my free hand clenched into a fist. "Did either of you think to warn me?" "Miranda said she'd talk to you," my father offered, but his voice carried the weight of knowing it was a lie. "She said you'd agreed to help." I looked at Lily, those old eyes watching me, picking up on the tension even if she couldn't understand the words. I forced myself to breathe. "I need you both to understand something right now. I didn't agree to anything. Miranda abandoned her daughter. That's a crime. And if you knew about this and didn't stop her, you're complicit. Don't you dare speak to us that way." My mother snapped. "Miranda is going through a difficult time. She needs support, not judgment." "And Lily?" I shot back. "What does Lily need?" "Because right now she's sitting in a stranger's apartment eating granola bars for breakfast, because her mother drove away in the middle of the night." Silence. Then my father cleared his throat. "What do you want us to do, Theo?" "Find your daughter. Get her to call me back. And if you can't do that, then you need to come get Lily because I am not equipped to handle this." "We can't," my mother said, too quickly. "Your father's back surgery is next week. I'm taking leave from work to care for him. We simply don't have the capacity right now." The puzzle pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. Miranda hadn't chosen me randomly. She'd calculated this. Picked the exact moment when our parents couldn't take Lily, when I'd be the only option left. The manipulation was so textbook Miranda that I almost laughed. "So, what you're telling me," I said slowly, my voice flat, "is that Lily is mine now? That's what you're saying?" "Just temporarily," my father pleaded, "until Miranda gets back on her feet." "You're her brother, Theo. Family helps family." I ended the call without responding. I just stood there in my small living room, looking at the 4-year-old who was now my responsibility by default. Lily had finished her granola bars and was examining my bookshelf, running her fingers along the spines of graphic novels. "Are you okay?" she asked, turning to me. "You look sad." "I'm okay," I lied. "Are you okay?" She considered the question with a seriousness that broke something inside me. "I think so. Mommy said you'd take good care of me." She said, "You're the good one." The good one? As if there was a bad one in this equation, and it wasn't Miranda herself. I texted my best friend, Julian, "Emergency. Need help? Call me." While I waited, something else caught my eye. Miranda's designer luggage, 3 expensive pieces, stacked near my door. I hadn't even registered them in my initial shock. I walked over and unzipped the largest one. Clothes for Lily, haphazardly packed, some toys, a folder of medical records, and at the bottom, sealed in a plastic bag, Miranda's passport and a thick manila envelope. I pulled out the envelope. Inside were bank statements, legal documents, and a one-way ticket to Costa Rica dated for tomorrow morning. My sister hadn't just abandoned her daughter temporarily. She'd planned an exit strategy. A complete disappearance. And she'd used me as the dumping ground for the responsibility she no longer wanted. Julian called back, and I explained the situation in short, clipped sentences. He arrived 40 minutes later with his wife, Kendra. Both of them stared at Lily with the same shell-shocked expression I'd worn all morning. "What are you going to do?" Julian asked, while Kendra engaged Lily with questions about the stuffed elephant. I looked at the evidence in my hands, the ticket, the documents, the cold calculation of Miranda's escape plan. "I'm going to take care of Lily," I said. "And then I'm going to make sure Miranda never gets to hurt her again." Julian helped me set up the spare bedroom while Kendra took Lily to Target for essential supplies. I moved my home office equipment to the corner of my bedroom and assembled a toddler bed Julian had retrieved from his garage. The room transformed from storage space to child's bedroom in 3 hours, though it still looked temporary, like a stage set waiting for the real scene to begin. "You need to call CPS," Julian said, testing the stability of the bed frame. "Document everything. The abandonment, the luggage, those documents you found." "I know," I replied, hanging cheap curtains Kendra had picked up, trying to make the space feel less institutional. "But the moment I call CPS, this becomes official. They'll start looking for Miranda, and she'll spin some story about postpartum depression or a temporary crisis. She'll cry, apologize, and 6 months from now, she'll have Lily back. And you think that's bad because she bought a one-way ticket to Costa Rica for tomorrow, Julian. She was going to disappear permanently. If I hadn't found those documents, if I'd just assumed she'd come back in a few days, Lily would have ended up in foster care when it became clear Miranda wasn't returning." Julian absorbed this, his expression darkening. "So, what's the alternative?" "I document everything myself. I get my own evidence. And when Miranda eventually surfaces, because she will, once she realizes I found her escape plan, I'll have enough ammunition to make sure she never gets custody back." "That's a lot to take on," Julian said carefully. "You're not exactly father material, Theo." "No offense. None taken." I sat on the edge of the new bed, testing the mattress. "But I'm what Lily has right now. And despite what Miranda thinks, I'm not going to abandon a 4-year-old because it's inconvenient." Kendra returned with Lily and 6 shopping bags of clothes, toiletries, and toys. Lily's face lit up at the sight of the transformed bedroom. For the first time that day, she smiled. It was a small victory, but I'd take it. Over the next week, we established a routine. Wake at 6:30, breakfast, drop Lily at the daycare 3 blocks away, work from home on client projects, pick Lily up at 4, dinner, bath, bedtime stories. It was exhausting and disorienting, like learning a new language while already holding a conversation. Miranda never called. Her phone remained disconnected. My parents checked in twice, both times with the same question: "How is Lily adjusting?" Neither time did they offer to help beyond vague promises of, "Once your father recovers." I hired a family law attorney, James Whitmore, who listened to my situation with the weary patience of someone who'd heard it all before. "You have grounds for emergency custody," he said. "The evidence of planned abandonment is strong. But understand, if your sister returns and contests this, it'll get ugly. I'm counting on it, I replied. I started digging into Miranda's life. Her social media accounts, all public, showed a carefully curated image of a struggling single mother doing her best. Posts about Lily's cute moments, complaints about toddler tantrums, requests for recommendations on child psychologists. All of it was performance. I realized it was a narrative she'd been building for months, laying the groundwork for her eventual claim that she'd been overwhelmed, that she'd needed help, that no one had listened. But I found the cracks. A post from 6 months ago about a business opportunity in Central America tagged photos with a man named Ricardo Salazar, whose profile indicated he lived in San Jose. Comments from Miranda's friends expressing concern about her big move, quickly deleted but preserved in cached versions of the page. She'd been planning this for at least half a year. The abandoned porch scene wasn't desperation. It was choreography. I filed for emergency guardianship, submitting the evidence of abandonment along with the Costa Rica ticket and bank statements showing Miranda had emptied her savings account. The hearing was set for 3 weeks out. In the meantime, Lily lived with me, adjusting to a stability she'd probably never experienced. She was smart and eerily perceptive. At night, she'd ask questions that cut through pretense. Is Mommy coming back? Did I do something wrong? Are you going to leave too? Each question required careful answers, honesty balanced with reassurance. I wouldn't lie to her, but I also wouldn't destroy what little security she had by telling her that her mother had planned to vanish forever. Dr. Helena Kovac, the child psychologist I'd found through Kendra's recommendation, met with Lily twice a week. After the 3rd session, she pulled me aside. Lily shows signs of prolonged neglect, she said gently. Emotional, possibly nutritional. The abandonment is traumatic, but it's not the first trauma. There's a pattern here. Can you document that? I asked. For legal purposes? She nodded. Yes, but Theo, be sure this is what you want. Custody battles destroy families, even dysfunctional ones. This family's been broken for a long time, I said. I'm just making it official. The Costa Rica ticket expired and used. 2 weeks after Miranda disappeared, her phone number was reassigned. She'd burned every bridge, cut every connection. My parents finally visited, bringing gifts for Lily and apologies for me that rang hollow. We didn't know it would go this far, my mother said, watching Lily play with the new dollhouse. Miranda told us she just needed a break. She told you what you wanted to hear, I corrected, and you believed it because it was easier than confronting reality. My father shifted uncomfortably. What reality would that be? That your daughter is a narcissist who only thinks about herself. That she's never been capable of putting Lily first. That you enabled her for years by making excuses every time she screwed up. I kept my voice low, aware of Lily in the next room. And now there's a 4-year-old who doesn't understand why her mother left and 2 grandparents who can't be bothered to take responsibility. That's not fair, my mother protested. We have our own health issues to manage. Then you should have said no when Miranda asked you to keep her secret. You should have called me the moment she told you her plan. Instead, you let her use me as a dumping ground, hoping I'd just accept it. They left an hour later, the visit strained and unproductive. But it confirmed what I'd suspected. They wouldn't fight me for custody. They didn't want the responsibility any more than Miranda had. I spent my evenings after Lily went to bed building a case. I contacted Miranda's former employer and discovered she'd been fired for embezzlement, not prosecuted, but let go with a mutual agreement that kept the company out of legal trouble. I found 3 maxed-out credit cards in her name and a payday loan with a predatory interest rate. I tracked down Ricardo Salazar's social media and confirmed he was in Costa Rica, posting photos of beaches and cocktails, with a conspicuous absence of any mention of a new American girlfriend. Miranda hadn't gone to Costa Rica. The ticket had been misdirection, a false trail in case someone came looking. But where was she? I hired a private investigator, which took a significant chunk of my emergency savings. Within a week, he called. Found her. Scottsdale, Arizona. She's working as a hostess at an upscale restaurant, using her middle name. Been there about 10 days. Has she contacted anyone? I asked. Not that I can tell. She's keeping a low profile. New phone, new apartment under a 6-month lease. Looks like she's establishing a fresh start. A fresh start without her daughter. Without any intention of coming back. I forwarded all of this to James Whitmore, who absorbed the information with professional calm. This strengthens your case considerably, he said. We can argue she's demonstrated a clear intent to permanently abandon her child. The court will likely grant you full custody. What about criminal charges? I asked. Can she be prosecuted? Potentially. Child abandonment is a felony in Oregon, but prosecution would require cooperation from law enforcement, and they're often reluctant to pursue cases where the child is safe with family. He paused. Is that what you want? Criminal charges? I thought about Lily, who still asked about her mother every night. I thought about Miranda in Scottsdale, starting over with the freedom she'd craved, unburdened by responsibility. And I thought about the years to come, when Lily would be old enough to understand what her mother had done. Yes, I said. I want every consequence available. The guardianship hearing arrived. Miranda didn't appear. Didn't send representation. The judge reviewed the evidence, the abandoned luggage, the Costa Rica ticket, the private investigator's report, and granted me emergency custody with a clear path to permanent guardianship. It took 20 minutes. Outside the courthouse, James shook my hand. You're now Lily's legal guardian. Start the adoption paperwork if you want permanent parental rights, and I'll work with the DA's office on the criminal case. I picked Lily up from daycare that afternoon and took her to the park. She'd adapted remarkably to our routine, to the small apartment that was now her home. On the swings, she laughed when I pushed her higher, the sound carrying across the playground. Uncle Theo, she said as I walked her home, her hand small in mine. Are you my daddy now? The question hit harder than I'd expected. Would you like me to be? She thought about it with that serious expression I'd come to recognize. I think so. You make good pancakes and you don't get mad when I spill. Such simple criteria for parenthood. Basic decency and breakfast food. It said everything about what Miranda had failed to provide. Then yes, I said. I'm your daddy now. That night, after putting Lily to bed, I opened Miranda's manila envelope again and examined every document. Bank statements showing systematic withdrawals, emails to Ricardo Salazar discussing new opportunities, a handwritten list titled Exit Plan that included steps like find temporary placement for L and disconnect all ties. She'd planned every detail except one. She'd underestimated me. She'd assumed I'd be overwhelmed, that I'd eventually call our parents, that Lily would end up in someone else's care. She'd never considered that I might fight back. I photographed every document and uploaded them to secure cloud storage. Then I sent a message to Miranda's last known email address, the one she'd used to book the Costa Rica flight. Miranda, it's Theo. I know where you are. I know what you planned. Lily is safe and she's mine now legally. You have two options: disappear completely and never contact us again, or return and face criminal prosecution for child abandonment. Choose wisely. You have 48 hours. I didn't expect a response, and I didn't get one. But 12 hours later, the private investigator called. Your sister just checked out of her apartment, paid the lease break fee in cash, and left. She's in the wind. Perfect. Let her run. Let her build her new life in whatever city she chose, always looking over her shoulder, always wondering if I'd come after her. She'd made her choice, and now she'd live with it. Miranda surfaced 6 weeks later, not with a phone call, but with a lawyer. Her attorney, a sharply dressed woman named Patricia Holmes, contacted James Whitmore with a demand for immediate restoration of parental rights and a claim that I had kidnapped Lily. She's arguing duress, James explained during our emergency meeting. Says she was suffering from postpartum depression, that she left Lily with you temporarily for treatment, that you've been blocking her attempts at contact and turned her family against her. That's a complete fabrication, I said, my jaw tight. I have documentation of everything. I know, but she's crafted a compelling narrative. Single mother, mental health crisis, brother who took advantage of her vulnerability to steal her child. It'll play well if we're not prepared. What does she want? James slid a document across his desk. Full custody, An acknowledgement from you that you misunderstood the situation, a public apology, and monetary compensation for emotional distress. $50,000. I laughed. A harsh sound, devoid of humor. She's insane. She's desperate. My guess? Ran out of money. Arizona didn't work out. Now she's back in Oregon, and she needs a win to justify her return to your parents and her friends. She's not getting anything, I said flatly. Not Lily, not an apology, not $1. We go to trial. I want her deposed under oath. I want the embezzlement from her old job entered into evidence. I want every lie she's told exposed in public record. James leaned back, studying me. You understand this will be expensive and emotionally brutal. Lily will be caught in the middle. Lily is already in the middle. Her mother abandoned her and now wants to use her as a pawn. The difference is I'm protecting Lily. Miranda is protecting herself. We rejected the demand. Patricia Holmes responded with emotion for an emergency custody hearing, claiming immediate danger to the child. The judge, the same one who'd granted me guardianship, reviewed the motion and set a date for 4 weeks out. Miranda showed up at my apartment 2 days later. I only knew because the building security camera captured her on the doorstep, knocking for 3 minutes before leaving. She didn't try to break in. Didn't cause a scene, but the message was clear. She knew where we lived. I filed for a restraining order the next morning, granted immediately. Given the documented abandonment and her lack of custodial rights, Lily started having nightmares. Dr. Kovac explained it was a delayed trauma response. The security she'd built now feeling threatened by the uncertainty. I held her when she woke up crying, reassured her that she was safe, that no one was taking her away. Is Mommy coming back? She asked one night, her face buried against my shoulder. I don't know, I said honestly. But I promise you, no matter what happens, you're staying with me. Even if Mommy wants me back? Even then. The custody hearing was brutal. Miranda sat across the courtroom looking gaunt and contrite, dressed in conservative clothes that screamed reformed mother. Patricia Holmes presented a timeline of Miranda's supposed mental health crisis, complete with medical records from a therapist Miranda had seen twice in Arizona. My client made a mistake, Patricia argued. She was suffering from severe postpartum depression that went undiagnosed for years. In a moment of crisis, she reached out to her brother for help, trusting him to care for her daughter temporarily while she sought treatment. Instead, Mr. Bennett took advantage of her vulnerable state, blocked all contact, and systematically turned her family against her. He's not protecting Lily. He's punishing his sister. James Whitmore stood when it was our turn. Your Honor, the evidence tells a different story. Ms. Bennett didn't reach out for help. She abandoned her daughter on her brother's doorstep in the middle of the night without warning, without any discussion of temporary care. She disconnected her phone number. She emptied her bank accounts. She purchased a one-way ticket to Costa Rica and told her parents she was taking space. When that plan fell through, she relocated to Arizona under an assumed name and made no attempt to contact her daughter or brother for 6 weeks. He presented the evidence methodically: the luggage with the Costa Rica ticket, the bank statements, the private investigator's report, the embezzlement from Miranda's former employer, the list titled Exit Plan. Each document was entered into the record. Each one a nail in Miranda's carefully constructed coffin. Patricia objected to every piece, arguing irrelevance, improper procedure, prejudice. The judge overruled most of them. Then came the testimonies. Miranda took the stand first, and I had to admire her performance. She cried at the right moments, expressed remorse in measured tones, painted herself as a victim of circumstance and mental illness. She claimed the Costa Rica ticket was for a planned vacation before her breakdown. The Arizona relocation was to be near a specialized treatment center. The embezzlement charge was a misunderstanding with her former employer. James cross-examined her with surgical precision. Miss Bennett, you claim you left your daughter with your brother temporarily. Why didn't you tell him it was temporary? I was in crisis. I wasn't thinking clearly. But you were thinking clearly enough to pack 3 suitcases with your daughter's belongings, remove all your cash from the bank, and purchase an international plane ticket. I wasn't myself. When did you first attempt to contact your brother after leaving Lily with him? A pause. I don't recall exactly. You don't recall, or you didn't contact him? I was receiving treatment. Communication wasn't allowed. Really? Which facility? We'll need their records. Another pause. Longer. I don't remember the name. You don't remember the name of the facility where you spent 6 weeks receiving intensive mental health treatment? The lies unraveled one by one. By the time James finished, Miranda's credibility was shredded. I took the stand next and told the truth. Every detail, every moment, every discovery. I showed photos of Lily's transformation over the past 3 months, the weight she'd gained, the smile that had replaced her haunted expression, the drawing she'd made of our small family. I presented Dr. Kovac's assessment, the documented evidence of long-term neglect. Your Honor, I concluded, Lily has thrived in my care because for the first time in her life, she's the priority. Not an obligation, not a burden, not a prop for social media. My sister wants her daughter back, but she doesn't want to be a mother. She wants to win. I'm asking the court to see through the performance and protect a child who's already been abandoned once. The judge took a 15-minute recess, then returned with her decision. I've reviewed the evidence carefully, and I find Mr. Bennett's testimony credible and Ms. Bennett's testimony not credible. The evidence of planned abandonment is overwhelming. Ms. Bennett's attempt to rewrite history as a mental health crisis is contradicted by her own actions. Guardianship remains with Theodore Bennett. Ms. Bennett's petition for custody is denied. Furthermore, I'm ordering a psychological evaluation of Ms. Bennett before any future custody motions will be considered. This case is continued for review in 6 months. Miranda stood abruptly, her composure finally cracking. This is insane. He poisoned you all against me. He stole my daughter. The judge's expression hardened. Ms. Bennett, you abandoned your daughter. The only person who stole anything was you. You stole your daughter's sense of security. This hearing is adjourned. Security escorted Miranda from the courtroom as she screamed accusations. Patricia Holmes gathered her materials in tight-lipped silence, refusing to meet my eyes. Outside, James shook my hand. That went as well as it could. But this isn't over. She'll appeal, file new motions, drag this out. Let her, I said. Every time she fights, I'll document it. Every time she lies, I'll expose it. Eventually, even she'll get tired of losing. Miranda didn't appeal. Instead, she disappeared again, and this time, I let her. The private investigator tracked her to Seattle, then lost her trail when she started using cash only and avoided any digital footprint. It didn't matter. I had what I wanted, legal custody, documented evidence of her unfitness, and most importantly, Lily. 2 months after the custody hearing, James called with unexpected news. The DA's office is moving forward with criminal charges. They want you to testify. The trial was set for 8 months out, giving prosecutors time to build an airtight case. I agreed to testify, knowing it would drag our family's dysfunction into public record. My parents called to beg me to drop the charges, arguing that criminal prosecution would destroy Miranda's future. She destroyed it herself, I told them. I'm just making sure she faces consequences. They stopped calling after that. Christmas came and went without contact from any Bennett except Lily and me. We built our own traditions, decorating the apartment with lights, baking terrible cookies, watching holiday movies in our pajamas. Lily asked once if Grandma and Grandpa were coming to visit. When I explained they were busy, she shrugged and returned to her toys. Unbothered. She'd already learned not to expect much from adults. The criminal trial drew media attention. A local newspaper ran the headline, "Mother faces abandonment charges after leaving daughter on brother's porch." The story went viral on social media, sparking debates about parental rights, mental health, and family responsibility. Strangers messaged me with support and criticism in equal measure. I testified for 3 hours, walking the jury through every detail. Miranda sat at the defense table, now represented by a public defender after Patricia Holmes withdrew. She looked smaller somehow, diminished by the weight of her choices. The jury deliberated for 6 hours before returning with a verdict. Guilty on 1 count of child abandonment, a felony carrying up to 5 years in prison. The judge sentenced her to 2 years with credit for time served, followed by 3 years probation and mandatory mental health treatment. Miranda was led from the courtroom in handcuffs, and I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, just an empty acknowledgement that justice, when it finally arrived, was often hollow. But the legal consequences weren't finished. Family court reviewed the criminal conviction and terminated Miranda's parental rights entirely. No supervised visitation, no future custody motions, no legal connection to Lily whatsoever. I began adoption proceedings the following week. 9 months after Miranda left Lily on my porch, I stood in a courtroom again, this time with Lily beside me. The judge smiled, genuinely smiled, as she reviewed the adoption paperwork. "Mr. Bennett, you've demonstrated extraordinary commitment to this child. The transformation documented in the psychological evaluations is remarkable. Do you understand that adoption creates a permanent legal parent-child relationship?" "I do, Your Honor." "And Lily," she addressed my daughter, "do you understand that Mr. Bennett will be your father? Not your uncle, but your father." Lily, now 5 years old and more confident than I'd ever seen her, nodded solemnly. "He's already my daddy. This just makes it official." The judge's smile widened. "Then, by the authority vested in me, I grant this petition for adoption. Lily Bennett, you have a father. Theodore Bennett, you have a daughter. Congratulations to you both." Lily hugged me tight. And for the first time since this ordeal began, I felt something other than anger or determination. I felt peace. We celebrated with ice cream and a trip to the zoo, Lily's favorite place. As we watched the elephants, she slipped her hand into mine. "Daddy, do you think Mommy is sad?" "Probably," I said honestly. "But sometimes people make choices that hurt themselves. That's not your fault." "I know." She watched the elephants spray water on each other. "I'm glad I'm with you instead of her." That simple statement contained everything I needed to hear. Not because it validated my choices, but because it confirmed that Lily felt safe, wanted, chosen. Everything her mother had failed to give her. My parents reached out 3 weeks later, requesting a meeting. I agreed, but only on neutral ground and with clear boundaries. We met at a coffee shop, the atmosphere stiff with years of resentment and unspoken recriminations. "We saw the news about the adoption," my mother said, stirring her coffee without drinking it. "We wanted to say we're happy for you both." "Are you?" I asked. My father shifted uncomfortably. "We know we failed you. We failed Lily. We spent so many years enabling Miranda, making excuses that we couldn't see what she'd become. Or maybe we could see it and we chose not to." "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because we want to be in Lily's life," my mother said. "We know we don't deserve it, but she's our granddaughter. We've missed almost a year of her growing up." I studied them both. Tired, aging, carrying the weight of their complicity. "Lily is my daughter now. Not your granddaughter through Miranda, but through me. If you want a relationship with her, it's on my terms. You don't get to undermine me or make excuses for Miranda. You don't get to rewrite history or play the victim. You show up, you're consistent, and you earn her trust. Or you don't show up at all." They agreed. Over the following months, they rebuilt a tentative relationship with Lily, supervised visits that slowly extended into regular weekend trips. They would never fully repair the damage, but they tried. That was more than Miranda ever did. 2 years after Miranda left Lily on my porch, I received a letter. No return address, postmarked from Vancouver. Inside, a single page in Miranda's handwriting. "Theo, I know you won't forgive me. I don't expect forgiveness. I'm writing this because my therapist says I need to take accountability. So here it is. I abandoned my daughter because I couldn't handle being a mother. I resented Lily from the moment she was born. Resented the way she changed my life, the way she needed me constantly. I thought if I could just escape, just start over, I could be happy. I was wrong. I'm not happy. I'm empty. But I can't undo what I did. Tell Lily I'm sorry. Tell her she deserved better. You gave her better. I hate that it was you, but I'm grateful it was you. Don't write back. Don't try to find me. This is goodbye." I read the letter once, then burned it in the kitchen sink. Lily didn't need Miranda's apology. She needed stability, love, consistency. Things I could provide without Miranda's shadow looming over us. Lily thrived. She excelled in kindergarten, made friends easily, and showed a natural talent for art. We moved to a larger apartment with a dedicated bedroom for her, walls painted the purple she'd chosen herself. I scaled back my freelance work to spend more time with her, accepting that some opportunities weren't worth sacrificing. Julian and Kendra became her honorary aunt and uncle, their own kids' playmates who treated Lily like family. Dr. Kovac continued therapy sessions, but spaced them further apart as Lily processed her trauma and built resilience. The nightmares stopped. The questions about her mother decreased, then ceased entirely. On Lily's 7th birthday, she asked if she could change her name. I want to be Lily Bennett for real. Not just on the adoption papers, but everywhere. We went to court the following week and filed the paperwork. When the judge approved the name change, Lily practically vibrated with excitement. At her birthday party that weekend, surrounded by friends and the family we'd chosen, Lily stood on a chair and announced, "My name is Lily Bennett, and this is my daddy, Theo Bennett, and we're a forever family." The applause was deafening. I lifted her down from the chair and hugged her tight. This fierce, resilient little human who'd survived her mother's abandonment and emerged stronger for it. Miranda never contacted us again. I occasionally searched her name online, finding nothing. She'd gotten what she wanted, freedom. And she'd lost everything that mattered. I got what I didn't know I wanted, a daughter, a purpose beyond myself, a reason to be better than I'd thought I could be. Some stories end with reconciliation, with lessons learned and families healed. This one ends with clarity. Miranda chose herself. I chose Lily. And in that simple dichotomy, both of our futures were written. Lily Bennett, my daughter, fully and completely, sits across from me now at dinner, talking about her day at school, her voice animated and free. She doesn't remember the scared 4-year-old on my porch. That girl is gone, replaced by someone confident and loved. Miranda's legacy isn't Lily's trauma. It's Lily's resilience. It's the family we built from the wreckage of the one that broke. And every day that I wake up as her father, I'm reminded that sometimes the best revenge isn't punishment. It's living well while your enemy lives with the consequences of their choices. Miranda is out there somewhere, running from what she did. Lily is here, running toward everything she'll become.